All right, guys, welcome back to another video. So out of nowhere, Redfall, they have updated the game with the update that they have been promising us from Arcane that would be coming after the original release, obviously with the whole debacle of the 30 FPS for Redfall when it did release, the whole marketing deception where they showed off footage for this game. It was hyped up by influencers, all of these types of things with footage that was PC footage and not letting people know that this wasn't going to be representing what was available on Xbox. It was a very bad thing that they did at launch. I completely am against, especially the same thing that happened there with Cyberpunk. But like Cyberpunk did show, even though you can have one of the worst launches in history, you can absolutely bounce back. Now, I don't know if Redfall will have a Cyberpunk bounce back, because Cyberpunk is obviously a much better game overall than Redfall, but Redfall has now finally given Xbox owners that major 60 FPS performance update with a bunch of other stuff here that you probably should now at this point, if you've never checked the game out whatsoever, go ahead and check it out. So here is the update that is coming to Redfall. If you go in and play it, you'll see it there. And I think it's actually pretty interesting. As somebody who beat the game, played through the entire thing, and recognize, yes, there are a lot of issues with this game. It is not a good game. It is a subpar game, to say the least. But it was still fun. I still had fun playing it with the original release. So I'm thinking with this update, I'll probably have even more fun. But here is what's included. So they've added a stealth being updated, which one of the most annoying things with Redfall was that you would just, if you stealth attacked somebody, it would just be you hit them with your weapon and they would fall over. There was no actual real stealth kills or anything like that. But they've added stealth being more viable, with suppressed weapons doing what they should do or should be, which I guess the suppressed weapons will make sure that nobody hears you. They've updated the controllers and how they feel in the game. So I guess it's snappier and it's better feeling. Like I said, I haven't played this update yet, but I may jump back in. They've added stealth takedowns to the game for unaware enemies. That's a big thing. That's going to make it just more enjoyable to actually go through and play the game stealthily, if that's even a word. It's actually a cool way to try to get through certain areas, to set up the way that you're going to attack them with your different abilities and make sure that you aren't seen, so you don't have to take on a bunch of enemies running at you and vampires trying to get you. Stealth is a fun way to do it, and now that there are actual takedowns, I think people will actually try more to do stealth. They've added a unique open world enemy encounters and increased the overall population. One of the biggest complaints with Redfall, and it was one of my complaints too, was that the world, although I thought atmospherically was pretty cool, I did actually like the atmosphere that they were going for in this game. To me, it's one of the bigger positives. There wasn't enough. You'd be running around for a while until you actually had encounters with enemies. And now that that's fixed, I think it'll just be a lot more fun exploring the open world. They've improved multiplayer visibility. They've updated the user interface and accessibility options, and they've addressed graphical, memory, and performance-related issues. So that's great to see all of this on top of a 60 FPS performance mode on the Xbox console. So this is awesome to see this update. I know people are going to make fun of this game. I think there was like 58 people playing it on Steam after they did this update. So it's a dead game, to say the least. But at some point in the future, as one of the things that Pete Hines talked about, people who subscribe to Xbox Game Pass, playing Redfall, it will be their first experience after they've gone into the subscription. Somebody in a year later from now, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, or whatever, they'll be going through the Xbox Game Pass subscription, and maybe they'll be interested in what Redfall is, and they'll be jumping in. And the game needs to be in a good state to keep people wanting to play that game after they've tried it out for the very first time. And this update here, I think, is going to be something that does do that. I will probably jump back in, try it out with this new update, just see how it feels. I do hope that they are going to be bringing out some new content, because that will be the exciting thing for me, to be able to play it with all of these new features. Now, Redfall was Xbox's biggest failure in 2023, in a year that they've been phenomenal so far. I mean, most of their releases have been very good, and it's been a very, very strong year for Xbox, and it just gives pointing towards a very bright future going forward to 2024 and beyond. PlayStation, on the other hand, in 2023 has had an awful year, in my opinion, and it's seemingly getting worse with announcements like this that are leaking. We know that the entire thing here with the Last of Us remake. I mean, they've made 3 versions of the original Last of Us game. You have the original game, and then you have the one that was remastered for the PlayStation 4, and then you have the one that was just remade for the PS5. And it's that virtuous cycle thing that Jim Ryan always liked to talk about before he retired, which was essentially just putting out the same thing over and over again because you know their fans are going to buy it up no matter what. And it's a guaranteed moneymaker. And it probably costs a lot less to do all these remasters and remakes and actually come up with a new idea and a new IP, or just put out a new game, a new numbered game in a series where you're developing it from the ground up. But The Last of Us 2 Remastered is apparently going to be one of the next games that Naughty Dog is working on based off of a LinkedIn profile from a developer. And I mean, to me, this is just absurd. It's embarrassing. I don't know why they would do this. PlayStation fanboys are probably going to eat it up and still buy it, but I guess that's why they would do it. But it's just, as a person who, I have a PS5, I'm excited to play new games that PlayStation does put out. Like, I'll be playing Spider-Man 2. Seeing The Last of Us just over and over and over again for games that aren't even that old, they do not need remasters at all, is kind of frustrating. It says, the developer in question is lead outsourced artist Mark Paggiarillo, who has been at the Sony studio since 2021. And it says here, responsible for overseeing the production of all outsourced environment, art assets, weapons, and interactive props for the 2 iconic titles, The Last of Us Part 1 and The Last of Us 2 Remastered. Now, this is not an official announcement, but I don't see why he would put that in there. I don't think he would make that up unless they're actually working on it. That's why I would see he would put that in his profile. So pretty crazy, because this isn't the first time we've heard about this. The Last of Us Part 2 composer Gustavo Santaolalla seemingly let it slip that an enhanced version of the game was in development by Naughty Dog, and now it's just being confirmed here by Mark. And we're going to see this eventually officially announced, but it's just another, I would say, non-exciting thing that PlayStation is announcing, and it really is showing that they just care about recycling the same thing that is guaranteed to sell. And unless there's a major change now with Jim Ryan gone, are we ever going to see them jump back into their back catalog of games like Resistance, like SOCOM? I think the likelihood is probably low at this point because they have to get through all the development of those games, but maybe after they've developed these, their minds will change and they will start doing that. The only way that they would ever actually stop doing this type of stuff is if people stop buying the game. But you know what's going to happen. This is going to get hyped up. Sony fanboys are going to make this thing probably way more exciting than it actually is. And I'm sure it'll play great, and I'm sure it will look great, but it's just the same game over and over and over again. And what makes things even worse is the factions, or the Last of Us multiplayer that was supposed to be with The Last of Us 2 originally, seemingly now that we've seen the articles, is on ice, and that may never even come out. So there's going to be a lot of broken promises if that happens, or potentially they're going to be trying to include it with this version, with this remastered game. I don't know what PlayStation's doing here, but it does not have me excited for 2024. I was thinking 2023 is a down year for PlayStation, but 2022 is a down year for Xbox, and look how Xbox bounced back in 2023. I was thinking 2024 PlayStation is going to have no problem bouncing back. We're going to see a lot of cool announcements, some new games coming out, and it's going to be a fun year. But with stuff like this, I'm being more and more doubtful as to what 2024 is actually going to bring from PlayStation. But we'll wait and see. This is just an announcement that I have no interest in. Now, let's jump over here to another game that is coming out in October, most likely, and that is xDefiant, which is going to be a major competitor to Call of Duty, or at least it looks like that. It probably won't ever be on the same level in terms of sales or popularity because it is a brand new game and it's very hard to be able to compete with Call of Duty. But xDefiant is a fun first-person shooter. I've seen a lot of people talking about it and comparing it to Call of Duty, maybe even liking it more than Call of Duty. So they're doing a lot of good stuff here with xDefiant. And it looks like it's going to be launching on October 28th. This is according to the MW2 Ghost, saying that there's an apparent launch event for October 28th, which has led him to believe that this will be the release date of the game. So if you're a fan of first-person shooters, you're looking forward to Call of Duty, you want to play probably one of its bigger competitors, or going to be one of its bigger competitors this year, look for the release of xDefiant. I've played the beta. It is a fun game, and I think it has a chance to do pretty well. Now let's talk here about a new update here for Xbox. They are adding in a new update. They say here that it's going to make it easier to get to and play and see details about the games others are playing directly from their profiles, as well as reorganizing the join and invite commands on these pages. You can see some screenshots here and basically what's happening, which I actually like this. I know this is a very small update, but I do really like this quality of life upgrade here. You can see you go onto somebody's profile and the join or play button is highlighted, and it has the name of the game as well as the actual picture of the game. And it's just an overall bigger button. You can see this Minecraft there. And then there's also this. They've highlighted invite as part of the top of their profile to get people to try and join your game. And you can see Forza Motorsport, join and play, and then invite as well. So a small quality of life update, but I do like to see that. It just looks nicer with the actual game icon on there. It just looks like it's a nice sleeker thing that Xbox will be adding, so keep your eyes open for that. And when it does come to updates, there's been a weird thing happening. It happened to me. I put this tweet out here. I was just making a joke. Jim Ryan is haunting my Xbox because this was happening on my Xbox. I was, you know, when you go to the turn off console, turn off controller, restart console page, this weird stuff of text was coming onto my Xbox, and I had no idea why. I'm like, did my Xbox get hacked? There's something going on. It was very confusing. It just looks weird. It gives you a weird feeling seeing this text. I don't know why, but there is a reason why. This is came up literally right after I posted that picture, which was great to see. And this is why this is happening, just in case anybody out there is wondering why it's happening to them. It says, you see, while we are in preview, update isn't actually ready to go out to everyone in the Xbox community. And that means that a lot of what you are seeing isn't quite finished. From features we let you try out all the way down to the text you read on the console itself. What you're looking at is what's commonly known as a pseudo lock, or text that has yet to be localized for specific language region you have your console set to display. So basically, if you are in the preview mode, you're in a preview update, this is what you are going to be seeing. So there is nothing to be worried about. This is just kind of the way it is right now for Xbox Insider members. And this is, it doesn't mean your Xbox is hacked, which is what I had thought for a second there. I did not know what was going on, but I just wanted to show you guys that in case you're wondering the same thing as me. Now, when it comes to Xbox, we know they're going through the Xbox Activision Blizzard acquisition, which is apparently going to be closing by the end of this week. And as soon as that closes, I mean, I'll be excited to see how they're going to handle those games. But you know, the community is going to be asking, what's the next acquisition? Because we know they're not done acquiring stuff. That's pretty much a given at this point, especially with some of the documents that we did see come out from Xbox. And one of those companies that is continuously on people's minds is SEGA, for a multitude of reasons. I mean, they have a great working relationship already. They have a partnership with the Super Game stuff. We've been teased multiple times by Sarah Bond with her taking pictures on vacation and having the Sega building in the background and all of these types of things. And now we have this here. And this is a picture with Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, and they took a picture with Sonic artwork. And now this has people talking. Is Sega going to ever be one of those next major acquisitions for Xbox? I think for a lot of people, they want it because they have a great catalog of games. It does make complete sense if this were to be the case when you think about already the way that they are working together with Persona games now coming onto Xbox Game Pass and that finally coming onto the Xbox platform, with the announcement we did get from the Tokyo Game Show with the Like a Dragon games coming in to Xbox Game Pass, and The Man Who Erased His Name, the new version of that game, is going to be launching day one. They continually are doing these types of deals that shows that they definitely like to work together. It's paying off for both parties. And maybe at some point, this is going to be one that Phil Spencer truly does pursue, and they do try to come to some sort of deal. We will wait and see. Who knows? They obviously also want to grow in Japan. So if they were ever able to get Sega, that would just be a massive boost for their growth in Japan. But these things keep happening, and people right away always start wondering about acquisitions and who will be the next acquisition. We did see that list of targeted companies that they had within their documents that we saw through the Activision Blizzard leak. We did see that list of their targeted companies that we saw through documents via the Activision Blizzard acquisition trial stuff. So Sega was on there. I mean, that was probably maybe just a pipe dream, but it was on there, and you never know. This could be something that does happen in the future. And again, it just does make a ton of sense. And then we have this here, and this is just a quality of life thing, but it's pretty awesome to see. I'm happy that this is happening unless it somehow doesn't end up happening. But X is going to be adding PlayStation 5 and Xbox as the available platforms to be able to stream to. And this is Elon Musk confirming this, that X app for consoles will happen. And he said this during him streaming Diablo directly to X. He's done a bunch of testing on it, trying to get game streaming probably bigger on the platform. He knows how huge of a market that is. So X is going to be a place now where you're going to see streamers playing games all the time. And they're going to potentially, or officially, I guess, according to Elon, have actual app here on Xbox and PlayStation 5 so you can stream directly to it. That's great to see. I would love to see that even expand out more, like a YouTube app to stream directly to, but that's not there. But if X is going to do that, more platforms that you can just stream directly from your Xbox is always a welcomed addition. But I'm going to end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.
Bye.